Okay. Today is June 11th, 2014, and we are interviewing Mr. Tom Norman at Danville Veterans Home Administration. And Mr. Norman was born on June 26, 1956, June 23rd, 1956. I'm sorry. My name is Cheryl Walker, and I'll be the interviewer. Mr. Pete Shanks is the court reporter for this interview. Okay. Mr. Norman, where and when were you born?
I was born in Lafayette, Indiana, June 23rd, 1956, to a couple wonderful parents.
What were their names?
Donald and Marlene Norman. My dad was my big buddy. He passed in 2007, tore me up. Then my mom passed last year just before Mother's Day. My dad and I always got her chocolates from Fannie Mae, and I hadn't done anything. I'd gotten her roses and stuff, but since Dad died, I said, well, I'll get her Fannie Mae this year. She didn't get to get him. He'd come from New York because there's no Fannie Mae in Lafayette anymore. But, she passed away, and she was ready to go see him again.
What did they do as you were growing up?
Dad worked for TRW Ross Gear. He'd come home greasy all the time. Mom had to wash his clothes as separate from all of ours, and Mom was a waitress with Bob Evans.
Did you have any siblings?
I have a younger sister, 2 years younger, Kathy with a K, and a brother 9 years younger, David.
Were either one of them in the military?
No. I really didn't connect with them as I grew older. I graduated high school at 16, skipped a few grades, and they got mixed up into the drug stuff and everything, and both of them quit school. I was just pushed, to do well. I was the kid that would be president, and I didn't connect with all the drugs and stuff because I was always younger than all the other students in my class, so I just didn't fit in.
What were you doing the day that you enlisted into the service?
Recovering from a hangover. My dad says, you're going to be a man now, so he got me drunk on my birthday.
And how old were you?
I was 16, or just turned 17. Dad had to sign me in.
So were you in high school at that time?
Yes.
Mm-hmm. What made you join the service at such a young age?
I had an uncle, my dad's brother John, was an officer in the Navy, and he talked to me about the Navy, and I'd always wanted to work aviation. And I applied. They had a Navy recruiter come over, and he says, I wanted to talk to all the juniors. He looked at me and he says, no, I want to talk to the juniors. I said, I am a junior. But we took these, so he had us take these tests, and he says, man, you qualify for everything. And he wanted me to go nuke, if I wanted to join the Navy. And I said, no, I want aviation. So I signed a 6-year contract to go aviation, and I worked on A-7 aircraft and F-A-18s out of Lemoore, California, after I got out of Vietnam.
When you joined, what was your advanced training? Was it that in aviation?
Yes, we had to do a lot of electronic schools. I was aviation electronics technician. We had to do some electronic schools down in Millington, Tennessee. They called it Memphis, but it was Millington. And then we went to what they call FRAMP, Familiarization Program, for A-7 C aircrafts at Lemoore, California. And then I asked for Japan on my dream sheet, and I got sent to the aircraft carrier Midway. A wonderful boat. First time you ever see an aircraft carrier, it just amazes you how the thing floats.
How many aircraft, or how many ships were you on?
I'm probably on a total of about 35 different ships. Not for any length of time, so off and on for a week or two, or whatever was needed with the SEAL teams. But as far as permanent, I was on the Midway, and the Midway was my longest ship I was on, and that was 3.5 years.
And again, where did that dock out?
It's home ported out of Yokosuka, Japan.
Okay. So the first time you went on the Midway, Did you have to fly to Japan?
Yes, so we took Flying Tiger Airlines. Scared daylights out of me. I've never heard of it. But it was a good flight.
So it was an experience and a good flight.
Yeah.
What was the experience about? Do you remember?
I'd never really flown a lot before. I was a kid, so I didn't experience all the coming from. I went all the way to boot camp in San Diego flying, but we didn't get the bumps that we did, the turbulence that we did going over to the Pacific. And I tell you what, that was an experience that I said, I'm not really sure I want to get into this aviation stuff.
After you got there, what was your duties? After you got to Japan?
I worked on the flight deck. I trained for a while, working on the plane. I was trained for two planes, the A-7Bs and the A-7Es, which were two different models. And the E was the more advanced. But eventually my training led up to working on the flight deck as a troubleshooter. I'd be on one side when the plane was getting ready to be shot off. I'd be on one side, the other troubleshooter would be on the other side, and then the flight. Of course, we had the shooter be up there, and we'd go through a final check, make sure the wings were locked and everything, and we'd let the pilot go up. It was fun. I really enjoyed that. It was danger everywhere you looked, but I'd seen a lot of death up there, but it was danger, and you had to really be on your toes. It was a wonderful job.
Did you go into the ship? What was it like living on the ship?
Initially I lived I come out from Vietnam as an E5 because I was with the Coral Sea with the Marine or with the SEALs for a while, back and forth off of there. But on there I was with 63 guys, and then and it was kind of tight quarters, but you got to know each other really well. You know who you liked and didn't like, who you wanted to stay around and not stay around. You were really tight knit, pretty tight knit. You work with these guys day and night. Go on a 6-month cruise, and you're stuck with them out there at sea for a month at a time before you hit a port, and you get to know them. And then I made E6 and got a 12-man compartment, and that was a lot better. We had one bed open, and our cook wanted to come up and stay in our compartment, and we said yes. He said he'd keep us happy, so he brought steaks, popcorn, all kinds of stuff, and ice cream up for us. So it was nice having him.
Were you in? Did you have bunks or hammocks?
Bunks. Hammocks were back in WW2, I think, when my uncle was in.
Question for you is, you mentioned the SEAL, and I know that you were on SEAL Team 7. Is that correct?
Yes.
Can you explain your time with the SEAL team?
Well, I worked with the Team 6, not the Team 6 everybody refers to these days. It was just a regular SEAL team back then. I was enlisted going up and down the Mekong looking for the missile sites. And then we come on the Basak River after our run and just sit there and drink beer and eat steaks and stuff. But I wanted to be a helo pilot, and after I graduated from Purdue, and they said, well, you're pretty good. And they said, you want to go back to the teams? I said, sure. And they said, well, you have to be a SEAL this time. I said, oh my. That's rough training. BUDS is 6 months, basic underwater demolition school, and then 6 months of SEALs training, and then you go to your team and you do training with that. But out of 4 officers, there was only 2 of us that made it. I was one of them, on top of having to keep up my flight duties.
So you went to officer school when you...
I was in the college program at Purdue. I only had a year and a half to do. I'd taken a lot of, excuse me, a lot of classes out at sea. They had professors come out at sea. It was called PACE, Program for Afloat College Education, and I got all my basic ed, general ed done, and then my electronics from the Navy transferred over to a lot for my engineering technology. So I only did a year and a half, and it was great.
What made you choose the Navy?
Army just didn't attract me. It was my uncle who really influenced me. My dad's brother John. He's my favorite uncle. He just influenced me. I had an uncle in the Army. He got stuck in Germany. One in the Air Force. He got stuck somewhere else, and I didn't want to be a Marine, you know. And the Navy travels around, and I love water. And I mean, I've seen more countries, you know, other than with SEAL teams, that most middle-class people would have not seen. And I've been around, and I've enjoyed it, you know. I hadn't been failed my FAA physical, I'd still be in the Navy to this day. I loved it that much.
When you were with the SEAL team, you went on a lot of did you go on a lot of top secret missions?
Yes, and let me explain about the SEAL teams. Everybody thinks the teams are, you know, the Billy, pardon the expression, badass, but and we are, but 95% of what we do is helping people. You can put 16 men in a platoon. We have 6 platoons in each team, and 16 men in each. A few of them are officers, but you can always put 16 people in to go in and kill people. You got to, and we go in and help most of the time. So granted, we're trained to do the worst, but lots of stuff we do is our extractions and some people defecting and stuff like that. So going in and actually doing all this killing and stuff, it's not as often as you think.
Mm-hmm. When you were stationed, you told me that you were stationed in Vietnam and the Philippines,
off the coast,
off the coast,
mm-hmm.
The Philippines, and off the coast of Japan. Where did you? Can you remember some of the ports that you went into?
Oh, we've been in Hong Kong 5 times. I love that. You take Victoria Peak, go up to the top. We ate at the restaurant. First time I ever ate escargot and had a baked Alaska. Then at night we went out and looked through these binoculars across Hong Kong Harbor to Kowloon. Oh, it's beautiful, beautiful. Rode the Star Ferry over to Kowloon. It was just beautiful. Been to Perth, Western Australia, White Sands Beach there. Ate the best steak I ever had in my life. Been to Korea, Singapore, the Taiwan, Philippines. Spent 6 months in the Philippines transitioning from a A-7As and Bs aircraft to the A-7Es. And we liked that. It was known as having the most prostitutes and bars in one row, you know, and so I'm surprised I didn't get anything from over there. But anyway, we hit Karachi, Pakistan, Bandar Abbas, Iran, Kenya, Africa, Mombasa, Kenya, and that was when we got pulled out to go to the Iran hostage crisis. We were in there and they canceled all liberty and we went up there.
Did you ever cross the equator?
Several times. They call us shellbacks now. Crossed 5 times. First time they had shillelaghs made out of a fire hose and a hot sauce put down from the dentist, you know, and they put us in these things. They had rolls around and garbage. You know, it was a blast. It was fun. It's tradition, you know. Get your face rubbed in J.B. Jones' belly and it's fun.
And you've got your certificate?
Oh, they're gorgeous. They're about this big, and I got 5 of them. And there's people that didn't want to do it. I don't understand why. But I mean, you join the Navy, you go in for the tradition, and so they got put in a certain area and had to stay there. They couldn't view the activities or anything. But we had what we call still beach after that. Everybody got washed off, and we had steak and lobster up on the flight deck. We cooked it on the grill, so it was good. It was a blast. I tell you, there's some bad things in the Navy, but there's the good outweigh them by far.
Mm-hmm. What about the friendships? Do you remember some of your crew members, or are you still in contact with them?
I've got one friend, Ted Judson. I'm the only one that can call him TJ. He's actually the head career counselor. He's civilian now. He retired from the Navy as a chief, E7, and he's over in San Diego. He's the head career counselor for Counseling Assistance Center for the Alcohol and Drug Rehab for the Navy. So He's a pretty good guy. I talked to him from off and on. But you get some of these close things together, and people that you get tight-knit people, and you don't get that out here in the civilian world. I think that's what messes a lot of people up. You get out here with the teams, I mean, man, you get close to people. In Grenada, I lost 4 off my helo, and never found their bodies, and it was my decision to drop them, because I got the wrong drop-off point, but I couldn't communicate. It was garbled, and they went down, and they had the communications, and most of the communications, and they were supposed to go in and get the governor, which they did, of Grenada, but we never found their bodies, and they had most of the communications gear, and they actually had to call the states with a calling card, phone card, to get them in there. It's not like Hollywood and Clint Eastwood did it. It wasn't all Marines. It was SEAL Team 7, or SEAL Team 6, excuse me, but Rincon didn't go in and pull them out, though, because they had to have help.
What is a halo?
High altitude, low opening jump. It's where you jump out at high altitude. Depending on the altitude, sometimes you have to have oxygen. And you come down and then you open up like 500 feet or low, and you'd open it up and then you drop in. So it's a way to sneak in. And they also have HAHO now, high altitude, high opening.
And when did they get that?
After I got out. I don't know why you'd want to do it high opening, but unless you was wanting to really be quiet and glide your way in from a long distance.
When did you, what were your service dates?
June 24th, 73 to September 8th, 79. I could not pass my flight physical. I was walking down the flight deck and got blown down by an rookie A7 pilot, and his exhaust, and I got blown into an intake of a A6 intruder, and it screwed up the hearing in my left ear. And I had 13 operations, and I couldn't pass the FAA physical. And I said, "Well, we'll offer you a lieutenant commander and let you teach ground school." And I said, "No, if I can't fly, I want out." I should have stayed in. Wrong decision. I was mad.
What did you do after the service?
I got out, and I had an incident in 83 after Grenada and the Marine barracks, where we went in and pulled out 10 POWs in North Vietnam. My helo went in, and I was loaded, and they called me Stormin. They said, "Come in slick, not loaded and ready to go, or come in storming." And they blew smoke, and they said, "Go storming over there." And they told me where to go, and I come in at treetop level, saw bodies going all over the place, and pieces, and they had people going to home, waiting for them to come home, and I took that away from them, and I tried to make up for that by becoming a paramedic, and it doesn't work. It doesn't work. You just deal with PTSD. I had to go through prolonged exposure therapy for that, and it works to a great extent, but it helps me help other veterans. But I still think of it from now and again. I'm in here now. I got to where I dwelled on it in my apartment too long, and I had 2 suicide attempts that really I had to be resuscitated from here at Presence. And I'm alive today because of Presence. And I had to just get my head screwed back on right. But I found a couple friends that took care of my dog. I have a Chesapeake Bay Retriever, 120 pounds of dog that thinks he belongs on my lap. But I'm starting to find a couple of these guys are over here on the ward. One of them was in my apartment. He got PTSD, started bothering him, and I told him to get in here. So my girlfriend's got my dog now. But I finally found, in time of need, I found some guys like that. One was an RN now. He used to be a CNA here at the hospital. He got his RN. He's working at Presence, and he was a sniper in the Army. So he was SF. He's a Ranger, Special Forces, and he took care of my dog for a while too. You find out who your friends are when you're really down. So I'm starting to find them people I can be tight knit with again, and that's cool because I haven't found that in years.
Do you it belong to a veterans organization? Have you or joined any of those? Or is
No, I have, because of my PTSD, I drank a lot of alcohol, so I don't like to be around alcohol. That not only does it numbs me, but it also makes me think of my PTSD, my things that I did, and that's what gets me down to my suicide level, and I don't like to get there.
Okay.
And the thing with PTSD is a lot of families don't believe it. They think, you can snap out of it. You can't just snap out of it. They don't know what you see. Granted, we volunteered for the service, but we didn't volunteer for some of these things. We don't go in with full knowledge of what's going to happen, what we're going to do, what we're going to see. And that's what some of these guys are dealing with. A lot of these guys. And these guys here are getting their fair share of thanks because of the Vietnam veterans, because we got spit on a lot. I didn't personally, but I know of some that have been. And Vietnam veterans, I have a Vietnam veteran hat now, and I wear it every once in a while in Lafayette when I ride the buses, and I'll hear somebody say thank you, and it's cool.
Talking about the veterans that came home and got spit on, do you remember when you came home and the end of your service?
In '89? Yes, I remember when I come home. I came home with my wife and them, family. I had 3 daughters at that time, and she was in love with officers. So she left me and took the kids, and I didn't get to talk to them until 2004, but we were living with my parents for a while, and I worked at the bar as a bartender for my dad. He was getting tired, but it was a family bar. A friend of ours owned it, but everybody in the family worked there. And but that's what I did for a while until I became paramedic, and then I worked for a rent-to-own place as a service manager for 7 stores.
Mm-hmm.
Did you girls want to take a picture for Aaron White? Sure. Might as well. Terry did. Yeah.
Where were you when Vietnam ended?
Well, it was April 29th, 1975. It's called Operation Frequent Wind. That's when they went in with the helos and everything, and then the planes, the Air Force had the planes and everything, taking them out from the airport, removing people that wanted to leave Vietnam at that time. And so I was on the aircraft, hopping back and forth between aircraft, Coral Sea and Midway.
Yeah, I was just like, I have to stop.
That was the Gulf of Tonkin, we called it. Gonzo Station is what we called it.
Did you have any nicknames in the military?
Yes, one, I played drums, so I was always popping my foot, so they nicknamed me Thumper. I was enlisted, but it was an officer that called me Storman because my last name was Norman. So I tried to say I have it first before Storman Norman the general, but I don't think so. He's a couple days older than me.
We ask you if you have remained in contact with or reunited with fellow veterans, but you said you have, since you've been coming to therapy, united with veterans. And do you feel that the bond is close?
There are some things that veterans can talk about with other veterans. I run a veteran program here in the dining room on Saturdays at 10 o'clock. I haven't been since I've been in here, but we can talk about any things that having to do with mental health. And what I'm trying to do is try to get packets together for each area, like Springfield, Decatur, West Lafayette, so they know how places to run to if something comes up with them up here mentally, because PTSD affects you mentally, and some guys are suffering from really severe depression, and whatever it is, they got numbers they can call. We're trying to work on that.
Sounds like a great program.
Once we get it done, yes. My goal here is to help veterans, and I would really love to get a veterans court here in town. Because some of these guys do stupid things because they just don't know what else to do. Some of them, like myself, were in charge of $23 million aircraft, and if I didn't have any electronics training or anything, I wouldn't have been able to do anything. But some of these guys don't go to college, and I'm sorry that some of them are not qualified to go to college, and all they're able to do is flip burgers. So they went from all this responsibility they had to flipping burgers, you know, and that's kind of really demeaning. It's really demeaning to them.
Did you, talking about that, about coming out and the service and not having any many responsibilities and not knowing what to do, did you take advantage of any of the GI benefits?
That's what I used to go to Purdue on. It cost me $963 a semester to go to Purdue. Compared with nowadays, that wouldn't even buy the books.
Congratulations on that.
Thank you.
Did you have something that you carried that might have been what you considered special luck, a good luck piece, maybe a coin, something like that?
My Japanese girlfriend gave me a necklace cross. That happens to be my son's mother. I have a son that's half Japanese. He works for Sony. But I carried that with me a lot. My first run-in with the SEALs in my helo, coming in storming, I was scared to death. And then I grabbed that, and then second nature took over, because that's why you train so hard. You go in, do what you got to do. Right? But yeah, I had that. I lost that in a house fire. Never did tell my wife what it was from. She didn't want her to go to the old girlfriend thing.
What you touched on what the food was like, that it was because you allowed some of those cooks into your room, that you are in your bunk area, that you got good food. Did that stay completely the same when you were on the ship, or did you run out of food?
On the ship, it was good. It was pretty good the first few weeks. Then the milk, we had to go to sterilized milk. And we run out of fresh fruit and fresh salad. Then we'd hope for the supply ship to come by and give us fresh fruit and everything, and mail. And that was exciting. Fresh milk and salad and fruit and mail. That was a big thing for everybody.
Okay, your mail. Talking about bringing up the mail. So you didn't get it every day.
No. Well, we had a squadron called VRC 50. And they were kind of like cargo planes. They landed on. They had C1s and C2s. C2s is similar to the E2 that had the first beep, but they call them carrier onboard deliveries, and they bring people on that was coming on, or take people off that was going off, they'd say caught on the ball, which is a little point out from the ship. At your area, you get ready to come in and land. It's like caught on the ball with mail. Well, you just hear all over the ship, you know.
So mainly you had to write your family, your friends, whatever, letters.
Yes, it's not like nowadays.
Mm-hmm.
Man, they got it made nowadays.
Did you ever get to do call home at all?
Just when we hit a port, and it was rather expensive. So I couldn't talk to my parents for very long. I usually send them money to take care of that.
What about entertainment? Did you ever have any entertainers come on to your ships?
We had the Dallas Cowboy cheerleaders come on one time.
And what was that like?
Oh, it was a blast. One guy got sent to the brig because they served us ice cream from Lithuania, and one of them grabbed her, you know, and he got sent to the brig for a while. But we have what we call smokers. They have boxing matches on the ship. I was in a band playing drums or guitar, but mostly drums. We play on the ship a lot. But we get lots of people, USO shows coming on. I never had anybody really famous come over. But yeah, the closest thing we had to famous was the Dallas Cowboy cheerleaders. And actually, when I was coming back to the States, they'd been finishing their tour And I had a commercial flight. I was taking them back to San Francisco, and I was supposed to ride in coach, and they didn't have anything available in coach. And they said, well, I was up all night with my girlfriend that night, okay? So I was tired. I said, I was just going to sleep all the way back, you know. And so they said, we have to put you in first class. And I said, okay. Right in the middle of the Dallas Cowboy cheerleaders. I reminded them, I said, I remember seeing you on the Midway. And they said, oh, yeah. Or on the Ranger, excuse me. And I sort of told them about Hollywood. This guy that got up and said he looked like, I thought he was Hollywood Henson, and they slapped him down real good. But they just laughed, and I said, see you later. So guys don't believe I slept amongst all of them Dallas Cowboy cheerleaders.
That's pretty amazing. Did you take any R&Rs when you
yeah, we call it leave.
Leave?
Yeah, we took pretty much every country I'd go in R&R and discover the country rather than, you know, hit the bars and find the women. In Japan, I went up to Sapporo, to the ice festival, and went snow skiing on Tane Olympia, which is where they had the Olympics. I don't remember what year it was. Hong Kong, I'd take the New Frontiers tour, and where they didn't allow Americans in China at that time, and you could see them roaming the ship, the boats going up and down Gardner River, Gardner Crossing. Australia, went on an outback tour. That was fun. Went on in Mombasa, went on a sightseeing safari. You know, it's just, you got to take advantage of these things when you're going out, not just remember the bars and the girls, because that's a waste of even being there.
Have you ever traveled back to any of these places?
I've been to Japan a couple times to see my son. He's never been to the States. He's the senior engineer for Sony Vaio laptops, so if a Sony Vaio laptop comes out, he's the one that's finally approved it, which is cool.
Congratulations.
Thanks.
That's a pretty proud dad.
Yes, he is. He's got his master's degree. He makes quite a bit of money. He's sent every one of us, myself and the 3 girls, that all have computers. Keeps them in fresh computers.
Great.
He knows he's got 10 nieces and nephews.
Is he married?
No, he doesn't have any kids. But my 3 daughters have 6 granddaughters and 4 grandsons. I hope my daughters quit that. They get expensive at Christmas.
Okay. Well, at this point, I want to ask you just some ending questions, and they are, how do you think the military life impacted you?
How do I feel it impacted me? I think it made me more disciplined human being, made me more compassionate, because working with the teams, you get out there and you're helping people that would never get help at all, or would have been blown away by other people. It's just the fact that you're getting out there and doing things and seeing different people, different countries, different cultures. You learn how well we have it off over here in the States. I mean, we are rich. I mean, I'm telling you, a guy that makes $1,000 a month is rich than most countries, than 90% of the countries in the world. You know, people in the Philippines make about an average of $100 a month, and they survive on that. Granted, things are cheaper over there, but they live in slums. These pictures you see on TV, Save the Children, that's true. I've seen it, been there, done that. So we appreciate what we've got over here, whereas a lot of people don't.
Veterans usually tell me that they have learned life lessons with being in the military. Do you feel you have?
Life lessons. My life lesson, and I don't know why I say this, but because I tried to commit suicide twice, is never give up. It's temporary. It's only going to be that way for a short time. And that's why I try to get to these other vets, and it's, I'm going to have to relate to them at the vet program when I go back to it as to why I did what I did, and it's probably going to help me understand them a little bit more now too. But never give up. A friend of mine, Petty Officer Marcus Luttrell, he was a SEAL. He was the one this movie was made up, The Lone Survivor. Lost 19 guys trying to save him. He owns a place down in Texas called it's called Lone Survivor. It's a area where he has people come down who are disabled from the service and meets other service members and going through the same thing, and they all get together. And he takes donations. I've donated $1,000 of my money to him, you know, every year to help him. I've never been there, but that's his motto. He's got one of the country singers. I don't remember his name. Did a video, and it's about 2 people in the service. And Marcus Luttrell talks at the beginning and the end, and at the end, and just says, "Never give up. You never know what's going to happen the next day." I was wondering, you know, if I was ever going to meet the woman of my dreams. I hadn't dated since 97, and there's a thing over there that says on the wall, it says, "Sometimes the dreams come true, the dreams you never knew you had." And I graduated from a program over here, and one of the ladies come to see me, and she says, "There's a lady at work who wants to meet you, and she's my girlfriend now." And it just come out of the blue. Never give up. So some things happen, you know.
Well, at this time, I want to ask you if there's anything that we did not cover and you'd like to say.
Yes. In '83, when all the, this was one big source of my PTSD. In '83, when the Marine barracks was blown up in Beirut, Lebanon, and right after Grenada, we snuck in with the team and brought out 10 POWs. One which later died, but not till after he got to see his family. We went to the White House and had dinner with the President Reagan and Vice President Bush, and you know, in the West Wing. It was great. But the greatest thing was seeing these people. We got our medals pinned on us by President Reagan, and that was cool. But the best thing was seeing these people with their families. I mean, it still brings tears to my eyes now just thinking about it, you know. And one of them later died after that, but they got to see their families again and get their paychecks, you know. That was great. That was just totally awesome. That's the best thing I'll ever remember out of the service is that.
Well, at this time, Mr. Norman, I would like to take and thank you for your time that you gave our country.
You're welcome. It was my honor. I love this country.
I would also like to take this opportunity to thank you for your interview and for giving me the opportunity to be the one that interviewed you today.
Again, you're welcome, and it's my honor. I like sharing my story. I share it with a lot of guys and hope that it'll help them a little bit. That's my intention, is to help other veterans.
Okay. Thank you.